guys, welcome back to another episode of How's Your Ground Game podcast. We're here with Birdman joining us from Vero Beach. I'm Damoon down here in Brooklyn, New York. And looks like we have opposite ends of the spectrum with the weather today.
We do.
It's 20 degrees outside here, John.
I'm not wearing any pants.
Is it 80?
No, it's 70 today.
Okay.
Got a little cool spell coming. You know, Christmas, they want to keep it down a little bit. It was 70. It actually got pretty good. Got in the high 40s last night down here.
But that's a bit cool. This episode's going to come out in a few weeks, but
this is the Sunday before Christmas.
We're going to retroactively wish everyone happy holidays, Merry Christmas.
Well, we could be wishing Valentine's Day at this point.
Maybe happy Valentine's to you guys.
Yeah. Happy Valentine's to all you.
Don't take too much time off the mats.
Train on Valentine's Day. That's my advice to you.
That's right.
If your girl and or guy kid doesn't understand them, they're not for you. They're not the right one. Keep looking.
We're gonna end up with a lot of happy relationships out there.
What would Nikki Five Stripes say?
That's right.
That's what I want to know. Whatever Nikki Five Stripes says, I go along with.
How's everything going down in the wash and fold?
Wash and fold's going good. Full mats. Had the door open this morning. The door was open this morning.
The gate. Nice.
For training. So we had the open air training today. It was great. We worked our typical Sundays is we deep dive into the Baja Pass.
Right, we were discussing that before class, before the show a little bit. I remember you telling me when you trained in Brazil, they used to spend a lot of time on just one technique, not one position, one technique.
So if it was last week, suppose I trained, it's Monday through Friday only training, and 3 classes a day, 7 a.m. lunch and a night class. Every class, so 15 classes, show the exact same move from the exact same position. The exact same class, 15 times in a week.
How did you feel about that?
Loved it. So if you're a white belt, you just start off. You go 6 months, and they can say, okay, we're going to review everything we just did. You come out after a year, still a white belt, knowing 26 different things very well.
Which is that's a lot of things, actually.
That's a lot. If you think about it, because you're getting traction from seeing it over and over. So that means each of the 26 things you've seen for 2 weeks, 30 classes on each of the 26 things.
Did you get bored as a student?
No. It was I got better as a student. So you don't get bored because it depends. Me personally, I didn't get bored. Other people, yeah, of course they would get bored. We did this. Yeah, but you don't know it. I'm sure we did it, but you don't know it.
And then how are your students responding right now to doing the Baja Pass every Sunday?
They love it. You know, they get every Sunday, put a little more sizzle on it, a little extra thing. Okay, because you can't show everybody everything at once. Right? It's not going to work. So every week I add something in, then we drill it. I have a whole gymnastics workout just around the Baja Pass.
All right, you still got to show us that. We're waiting for the YouTube.
I know, I keep forgetting to film it.
That's all good.
But yeah, so it's there's a specific warm up which they can do at home. Because everybody's like, should I get a grappling dummy and practice? I'm like, no, just do the warm up at home. That's all you need to do.
And then you've been teaching techniques in your school. You said you've been building up to it through the week. So on the Monday, you'll show like the base parts, and then on Wednesday, you'll go a little bit further into technique, and then Friday, you show the full thing.
Yeah.
How's that been working out?
Great. Like this week was top of turtle.
Okay.
So Monday, I showed if they turtle up tight, how to get one hook in.
Okay.
Then it was if you're off the front. So if you're in the side, like in a referee's position, or in the front, it's that cross face is in between those two positions. How to properly use a cross face and I properly defined what a cross face is, and just go between the cross face and the front headlock.
Okay.
On the turtle. And that was Monday. Wednesday, we did the anaconda choke. Friday, went to the other side and did the darts choke.
Okay. Everything builds on each other.
Builds up, right?
That's right. What did it's like a hidden iterations. Like every time you add another layer to it, you're still drilling the things you learned prior, right?
Yeah, and it was all about how, you know, when we gable grip when you gable grip on a darce, the choking palm, the palm of the choking arm faces you. When you gable on an anaconda, the palm of the long arm faces you when you gable. So you're looking at two sides of the same coin. We roll the opposite ways, our hands are in the opposite position, and it's just to get that information that most people don't verbalize. Like, did you know that?
I knew about the darts, not about the anaconda.
Yeah, about the hand position
But
on
the
your
hand
hips.
position, yeah, it makes sense that it'd be opposite. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's opposite, and it then becomes easier to remember.
Yeah.
Once it's verbalized and you go over it a few times. So I'm just a lot of things, we've all done it. Other people do it. You've done it so many times you forget to tell people they have to do it, right? Because it's just natural.
For sure.
So I'm trying to get away from that and trying to teach things in smaller pieces so that I can really talk about the philosophy. Sometimes I talk about the history of it, where I learned it from, where that person learned it from, and just have them have a little better understanding of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and where it came from.
How these techniques developed and what their place is.
Yeah, like how the X guard evolved because a sweep failed, so you need a puzzle piece to fit in there, right? Yeah. And the Gordo and the half guard stories, and Renzo and the Darce, Joe D'Arcy and the Darce. It's all history of where it came from, why, how, who did it, why it's called that. So
I think there's a lack of people. I think there's so much jiu-jitsu right now. People like to learn like the full breadth. Oh, there's this fancy guard or this pass, or I don't want to belittle any of it because some of it is effective, some of it is rooted in some good ideas, some of it is a specific tool to respond to a specific problem. But I think people take for granted also that a lot of the more fundamental positions developed because a lot of these things have been tried before and can be mitigated with just proper
simplicity.
Simplicity can, a little bit of posture, a little bit of pressure. A lot of the problems that you come across get negated, so you don't need to have all these specialized tools, right?
Fundamentals win fights.
Fundamentals win fights. Well, fundamentals are boring. That's why.
Boring is good. That's what I'm just getting my students used to that. Right? You want to be flashy, or you want to be good at jiu-jitsu? You tell me.
I had a conversation with a student this weekend, a really good question, and he was getting leg locked in the room, and he was saying, he's like, I don't know how to defend leg locks. Like some of these positions are really foreign to me. And he said the best solution I've come up with is whenever I get leg locked is to grab the other guy's legs and fight back and see, scare him off a little bit. And I said, that's great. And yeah, once you're in the leg lock position, that's a valid response. But I think of all things in jiu-jitsu, this is like really one of those positions where, an ounce of prevention is like worth a pound of cure. Yeah. And if a guy's leg locking you, leg locks, I think, is a hot topic, will always be, but he's probably pretty fluent in leg locks if he's going for leg locks. Yeah. And you don't want to leg lock him back because he's going to win that exchange. So he's like,
he was there first.
How do I avoid getting leg locked? I said, just sit on your heels.
Keep your feet behind you, not in front of you.
Keep your feet behind you. Get heavy.
Yeah. Put your foot flat to the floor.
That's all right. Why are you trying to throw your weight on top of him and, just sit on his legs and keep your feet behind you?
Yeah.
Now
not difficult. Not difficult.
Now he's got to figure out what else to do, right?
Yeah.
So you don't always need to have all the special tools,
No. You just have to be a little more wily than the other guy.
That's it. But that, again, goes back to having your one technique and knowing it really well and knowing all the details, having it done a ton of times to know where it breaks so he doesn't go there.
And also, if you know how to pass real well, I think some of that bleeds over to defending the pass, right?
Yeah.
If you know everything that works, you know how to kind of funnel people to the avenues that don't work, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So you do get a little insight of how the other side of the coin works, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think also with context, I think a lot of the context that people have right now is competition,
Yeah.
which revolves around points, which, you know, it's really hard to dictate good jiu-jitsu other than just submissions. But people are forming a lot of habits of just staying on their back. And once you incorporate, you know, people getting comfortable getting to their knees, the way you pass, the way you play guard changes. And, you know, you start rolling with people that are bigger than you. You don't want to be on your back. You don't want to be getting underneath them to pull leg locks, right? The dynamics change quite quickly.
Yep. It gets ugly real fast.
All right, but let's get on to topic of the week. We had a good title for it. It was I already forgot.
Safety and sanity.
Safety and sanity. Yes, we were going to discuss. We normally, most places, we discuss keeping our partners physically safe. I was bringing up that I don't feel we talk very often about keeping our partners sane, as you say, but just keeping them emotionally safe, like making them feel like they want to come back to train.
Yeah.
The thing that came to mind for me is sometimes upper belts, and upper belt doesn't have to be black belts and brown belts. It could be a 4-stripe white belt who just happens to be the king of the mat that day because, you know, in the land of the blind, the man with one eye is king, right?
Yep.
And he just decides he's just going to rip submissions on everybody. Not in a dangerous way, but he's just going submission hunting. And
it's his night.
It's his night. And once in a while, it's good to have those. But, you know, you do need, just the same way when you're rolling, you need to be aware of the mat space, who's rolling next to you. You need to be aware of, hey, is this guy tapping or not to the pressure and keeping his body safe? You need to be aware of how they're feeling as well. And if you see the guy you're rolling with is taking a long time to tie his belt or is breathing heavy, maybe take a second and be like, okay, he's having a tough day. You know, who knows what's going on in his personal life?
Maybe I should grab a sip of water.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe let him play top. Maybe work your defense a little bit, right?
Yeah. It's like the 3-card Monty in the street. You gotta throw a few games to get the crowd in, right?
Yeah.
You gotta let a few people win before you take them big. Because if you take them big off the start, nobody's gonna play.
Yeah.
You gotta lose a few. Yeah, you gotta go back and forth with people.
There was something I remember you told me when I first rolled with you, and you said when you're rolling with a blue belt, you roll like a blue belt. You meet people at their level.
Yeah.
I think that's a good way of keeping people's ego safe, because you're not just showing that you're way ahead of them. You're just a little bit ahead, so they feel like they're still in the race.
I do stuff that they understand. Because if I do stuff they don't understand, they're going to do desperate things, and desperate things hurt me, right?
Yeah.
I don't want to get hurt by this person, so I'm not going to give them anything to be scared of.
So what does that practically look like in a roll? When you're rolling with a blue belt, how do you approach that role? Like either from a technical perspective or whatever, that you want to stay at the level?
What belt is the person?
Blue belt.
I make shitty grips. I make grips that are way too announced, right?
Obvious,
right? So they know it's there and they do their thing.
Okay.
And I don't release them as quickly.
Okay.
Because that's what blue belts do. Right? I'm not in a bad way. That's what they do.
That is what they do.
Right?
Yes.
And, you know, it's how it is. So I'm going to roll. Literally, I roll like a blue belt. I deliberately make the same mistakes a blue belt's going to make because it's better for my students. Right?
Yeah.
And ultimately, it helps me teach things to people. Like, okay, I'm making the bad grip. So, you know, If I'm just rolling with black belts and I teach somebody some bunch of blue belts something, I'm working off my immediate experiences that I'm having usually, right? But if my immediate experiences are, yeah, this is the 4-stripe white belt, the 1-stripe blue belt who's going to react to these very awkward, very deliberate grips, right?
Yeah.
Not a precision grip, not something that's going to origami unfold on them after 3 steps and get them in trouble. So it's just, first grip, first sight, first grip. That's a blue belt. They want that grip. They want the security. And like with blue belts, I would run a closed guard, where higher belts, I would never cross my feet. But blue belts and white belts, I always cross my feet when I roll with them, just because that's the experience they're going to have.
Right. It makes the game simpler for them.
Yeah, and you know what? It's nostalgic. It's fun for me. I get to look at things. Say, oh wow, I should explain it like this, or I should come up with a drill to work on this problem because we're going to get stuck here. The person passing is going to definitely get stuck and discouraged here. So let me work on something for that. Because I'm getting a view from the blue belt's perspective, because I'm doing what the blue belt is doing, not doing what I do. Right?
Right.
So I think it's kind of good for my sanity as well when I roll like that, because I have to focus more.
Right.
Because I'm like, okay, I have to make sure that I say it's wrong. I'm sure that I consider them mistakes.
You're playing a character.
Everybody else does.
It's almost like you're playing a character.
Yes. I'm method acting.
You're method acting your role. You're method acting
on the rolls, yeah. And I try to do that. And I watch how you roll, and I try to do what you do against you.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
So that's kind of where I'm at. Or like when you guys were white belts and blue belts, like I would pick like, okay, I'm going to roll like 3 rolls against you guys today. Right? Half guard. And when he gets on top, he's going to put a lot of pressure on you.
Yeah.
Right? So, I mean, it's okay. I'm going to take this roll because that's what you guys have in the room. If I jump in and start doing nothing but slices, staples, and neon chest or whatever I'm doing, it's everybody gets discouraged, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's so foreign. It's like, it's they complain and this and that. And there's all kinds of excuses why this happened, why that happened, and nobody ever owns up to their game. It's just that I'm bullying them. So if I roll like one of you, and I've heard people say, oh, I almost caught Birdman. I almost caught him. I almost passed his guard. Great. That's fine. I'm happy with that. That's what you're supposed to be doing. Don't brag about it. But yeah, you keep them close. I don't like leaving people far behind, because then emotionally, it's going to take me forever to be a higher belt. Right?
Yeah.
But, they can talk smack. The blue belts, he's just barely beating all of us. Then they know, well, he's just barely beating all the purple belts. He's just barely beating the black belts too. So maybe, there's something to this jiu-jitsu stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, not every roll needs to be a highlight reel.
You said a word a few times I really liked. You kept calling it foreign. So keeping it familiar versus foreign. So we started by talking about like being way above the person's level and matching their level. But now we're also talking now about keeping it within their realm of what they know. Or even if you go to the outskirts a little bit, you don't got to go into outer space with stuff they've never seen.
Yeah. If you were taking Spanish lessons and you were 4 weeks in and they switch teachers, and the person comes in, they just speak fluent Spanish a mile a minute. How are you going to learn?
Right.
Right. Because that's what it's like. Right.
Yeah.
So I have to, even though the person speaks fluent Spanish, they're from, Mexico City or something, they know when they converse with someone new, they have to slow it down. They have to take mispronunciation into account. They have to accept, okay, these words should be a little more gender specific, but we can work around that. And okay, that's fine. We'll get there.
They're going to use simpler vocabulary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Samuel walked his dog today, right? It's
Right. Yeah.
yeah. So and I always see other higher belts just whoop up on the lower belts. And again, that's what they need. That's how you're supposed to teach them. I'm like, I don't know, man. I've I've learned a lot in my life, and no one's ever taught me anything that way, you know. So yeah, if you give, like I said, that could be a whole nother subtopic is uh foreign versus familiar, what you're rolling with, right? If I give you, it's not like I'm gonna run out there and do Barambola on everybody, right?
Right.
Everybody's lost and confused, does not know what to do, and you wind up taking nothing home because you're never gonna. When you go back to rolling with the guys, you don't see that from anybody else.
Right.
So you gotta look at what's on the floor, what's in the room, what are we working on in the room. Keep things on topic, right? Kind of what people are doing. Keep it simple and keep it fundamental, and just keep enough tension on the leash with the other person, and that becomes a good roll. And it's always been fun for me.
Right.
And it's not, and most, you roll with me, we laugh half the time.
Absolutely.
Right? With my students, we wind up laughing because they'll be great. I'm like, you sure? You want to put your hand there?
All right.
Okay, move it. Okay, let's keep going. You see a black belt, see a blue belt make a mistake, and the black belt just tortures him for it. What's that about? Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's not how people learn. That's how people get bitter, jaded. That's how people wind up hating jiu-jitsu, quitting schools, switching to Muay Thai. I'd rather get punched in the face than bullied by these people, right?
What so you we do laugh a lot when we roll. There are rolls we come in where we're a bit more serious.
Of course, yeah.
I had something this week where I was working something for myself, which may not have been comfortable for my student. I was doing a lot of staple passing, and after the first night, I verbalized to everybody. I said, "Hey, everybody got this tonight. That's what I'm working." And there's like two guys in the room. They're like, "Oh, phew! We thought we did something wrong."
Yeah.
How do you avoid those? Sometimes people do need the business. That's another episode.
Yeah.
Maybe we don't put that one online. I don't know. But
well, of course we're going to put that online. I'm going to name names.
but what are the things we can mitigate so people don't take it personally? Because that's another thing that comes up. Sometimes you have two. Sometimes it's a blue belt and a white belt, or you have the 4-stripe white belt who's almost a blue belt, and these two guys are head to head, and they get into that kind of like knocking heads roll. They're testing each other, which is fine. How do you find that space where they don't go home hating each other and they shake hands and they say, "Hey, good roll" at the end? Like, how do you create that environment?
Well, you got to start from day one with the ego checks. Like, hey, I constantly announce to people, hey, there's no scoreboard in this room. I don't give out rewards for just because I see people tapping other people. If it's that, in fact, it's the other way. I look to see who's not getting tapped by certain people. That's really more what I'm concerned of. I talked about this morning. Of all the roles we've ever had, what's the percentage of that time that you're actually submitting someone?
It's
tiny.
Tiny.
Single-digit percentage. Yet that seems to be what is on everyone's mind. Right?
Yeah.
So I'm trying to undo that. I'm trying to make them recognize the 95% of the time where you're trying to gain control. Maintain control, get control. Have everybody thinking more about the 95% than the 5%. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because I kind of felt crazy when I said it this morning, but
I want to drag that thought out a little bit. So one of the reasons why we tap as upper belts sometimes there's an element of like, I need to know I can do this. Is that
Yeah.
Gus?
That's no, this is Lita Ford.
Lead it forward.
And Lemmy is in the next chair somewhere.
Um, Sometimes we tap because we feel like we need to prove to ourselves that we can get the tap.
Yeah.
If
100% ego. 100% ego.
ego. Um, and that is kind of where that's where a lot of these conflicts happen, where if your ego is being satisfied, that probably means that the other person's ego is being destroyed a little bit, right?
Yes, yes.
So if you can be satisfied with the control and be confident that, hey, I have this control, I can do whatever I want to this person right now, I'm going to let it go. I'm going to let them go and recover and work again. The other person feels like they're in the role.
Yes.
Right? And you keep it going, and you don't need to push their face into the sand, so to speak,
No, you don't gotta, you don't have to punish them.
You don't have to punish them.
No, and that's a lot of what people feel is like, I'm being bullied, I'm being this, blah, I'm never gonna get better, all that stuff. It's more negative thought than positive. And negative thought is more contagious than positive thought, I would think, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. And that's negative thought. People take negativity, more negative baggage with them than they do the positive baggage. They'll, of course, scoop that negative stuff with both hands and take it with them. But yeah, if you control the roles and control the people who are rolling, like I was talking, I guess, Friday, I said, I think we're coming up where I'm going to let some more people roll live, because I said, you're not allowed to roll live till I tell you can. I said, you know what the reason is? And everybody's like, so you can learn this, so you can learn that, so you can do this, so you're better shape. I said, no, I want you to get to know these people better. Once you know more about a person, the less likely you are to hurt them, right? Oh, yeah. I know Damoon, he's a good guy. Why would I want to smash him? Because I'm friendly with him. Because I can think back at Renzo's, like, you didn't know, maybe someone's name, maybe what they did for a living, because their nickname would be related to their name. Like, Andy the fireman.
Yeah.
Right? So, that, but you didn't socialize, you didn't know anything about anybody. So it was much easier to kind of go off on the person, right?
Yeah.
Because they were an opponent. They weren't a teammate or a friend or this or that. So if you kind of bring that social component in where you get to know people and, they got kids, you got a wife, you just came back on a trip from wherever. It's okay. You can almost let your guard down a little and not feel like you have to hurt this person before they hurt you.
Yeah.
So that's the reason I don't let people. I tell them it's not because of your skill set. It's because
you gotta get to know each other. Yeah.
Yeah, get to know the person. Then beat the hell out of them.
I think it's also important to get to know your teammates, to know what they can take, both physically and emotionally, right?
Yeah. And you had to be kind to people.
Right.
You had to understand that, like you said earlier, you don't know what this guy does. We got one of our guys is a postal worker. So he's working his tail off right now.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So nobody's busting his chops when he misses class. No, where were you? Nobody does that.
Right.
And that's another part of it. If you miss a couple classes and people kind of, I'm going to we learn those stuff, I'm going to use it on you now. You're just making that person feel more and more behind you. Right?
Yeah.
Not necessary. It said, hey, you should come on Sunday because Birdman's going to go over the stuff you missed. That's what you should be saying to the person.
It's really important because, there's a balance of knowing when to push your teammates or your students and when to lift them up, right?
Yeah.
And you can only do that if you know where they're at, how they're feeling, what's going on. You got students that are going through finals. Maybe you want to give them a little, hey, the guy comes in late. He's skipping warm-ups a little bit. Okay, he's probably studying his butt off for a certification.
Yeah.
Right?
Maybe give him a softer roll even.
Right.
Like, this guy might not have slept in the past 3 days. But he still wants to come to jiu-jitsu. And if he stops coming, you don't get better.
You don't have
That's what people don't realize. It's not a solo sport.
Right.
You need everybody in the room to work to get better before you get better.
Absolutely.
So if you mentally push them down, physically push them down, you're getting Worse, not better.
Absolutely.
You're only hurting yourself. Who wants to hear that, though? Who will take that to heart and think about it? Smaller than the 5% of submission, that's who. Right?
I think even on that note, taking it a step further again is how often do we? I've been fortunate enough not to see this too often, but I know it happens in the broader jiu-jitsu world in a lot of places. But people in the same school don't like sharing techniques. I don't mean teaching, but we were talking about familiar and foreign. Occasionally, someone wants to get a leg up on their competition in the room, so to speak. It's funny to think of it that way, but it's a reality. They take a private, they go to a seminar, they get something, and they bring it back to the school, and they start hitting it on everybody in the room, right? And they don't care about evolving with it. They just want to be able to use it to win in the room.
Yeah.
Rather than
cheat
codes, rather than saying, hey, you know, that arm bar I hit you with 2 times today, this is what it looks like. So that
here was always my thought when I talked with Jamie. I would learn something. I would hit it on everybody, and then I would teach them that and the defense. Why? Because the better they get at defending, the better I get at taking it. Right?
Absolutely.
How do I get better if the person has no idea what's going on?
Absolutely. And then also when we hit these techniques, our training partners don't feel like they're being abused.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, I've seen this before. I know what he's doing. He's sharing the information.
Yeah.
They learn from it also.
Yeah, but if you do it a couple times, like, whoa, what is that? You got them. Okay, this works. Now I'll show them what it is so they understand it. Now I'll show them how to defend it.
Yeah.
Because that's not going to make it unusable for me. It's going to force me to work it more and make it better. That way, when I go against someone who doesn't know what's happening, but they're still very good at jiu-jitsu, who can calculate and think of counters and defenses on the fly, I have a higher percentage of finishing that because my group helped me get better at it. And that all starts from me sharing it with them.
There we go.
If I just keep everything hidden away, right, it doesn't get better. And now it has a shelf life.
Right.
It's got a shelf life. I'm not working it. I'm holding it, hiding it. Yeah. Eventually, it's not going to work so well.
And then
because I'm not putting pressure on it. Pressure causes evolution. I need to put pressure on the offensive and defensive things that I do, right? If no one knows what I'm doing and I can easily get away, what happens when I go against a person who does know what they're doing? No. My tool won't be as sharp as their tool.
No. Yeah. That's how we make our teammates, when we're going down to their level and we're rolling with the blue belts like blue belts, we give them the tools to, we keep it in the familiar realm.
Yeah.
Right? Then it's not about playing a better hand. It's about having sharper tools, right? It's not that I'm 2 steps ahead of the guy. It's just that my steps are cleaner.
You're more disciplined.
More disciplined. Yeah.
You're holding back deliberately. A lot of people cannot do that. They have to go after it. They have to, charge in. They can't just, knowingly, simplify it or, just bring it down to another person's level. Right? It's like baby talk. When people talk to babies, right?
Yeah.
You don't talk to other adults like that. And when you explain things to Naughty, how old's Naughty now?
He's 13.
13. When he was 8 and you explained to him about soccer or jiu-jitsu or anything else, you simplified it down for him, didn't you?
Absolutely.
Now you can make it more elaborate.
Right? Absolutely. Yeah.
So yeah, it's no different than that. It's like, sending a college professor to teach a 3rd grade class, but he stays at that college level.
Right.
He's smarter than all the other teachers who have been there, but are the kids going to learn as much?
No.
Probably not.
It's, we talk about it all the time with people using strength or youth or athleticism, right? We tell the big guy, hey, you're rolling with someone half your size. Maybe don't use all that strength.
Yeah.
We tell the 20-year-old who's rolling with the 50-year-old, dad with 3 kids, hey, maybe you don't go at comp speed. Maybe you try to be a little bit more technical here, right?
Yeah.
You don't need to cartwheel pass every 3 minutes.
Yeah. Tell the technical person, hey, you can make this a lot simpler.
You can dumb it down a little bit.
That's the one person we don't reprimand.
Right.
Right? You
Yeah.
never, oh, you're using too much technique on this guy. No one ever says that. But it's true. Right? It's unnecessary. Yeah, you look great. It's a highlight reel, but you're really not getting much, and that person definitely isn't getting much.
Right.
So simplify it down. And I think it makes us better teachers. We're more empathetic of what the white belts and blue belts are going through. Like, oh, this really sucks. You know, if I let myself get caught here, yeah, this is not good.
We also can appreciate exactly where they're messing up. If you're hitting them with a very nuanced technique and they don't have an answer to it, they don't have an answer to it. But if you're hitting them with an obvious fundamental technique that they just saw and they don't have an answer to it, you're like, oh, they need to work on their grip. They need to work on their posture. They need to work on.
Yeah. And I notice where it comes in mostly for white belts and blue belts is space management.
Like distance management?
Yeah. Space between us.
Yeah.
They're not managing it properly. When they make a move, they're leaving a lot of it's okay. Now, the other blue, like a lot of times I won't get my hook in like I always do. Yeah. Because the blue belt's not going to do it. It's like, hey, dude, you got to tighten. If you're going to roll with the purple belts, you better tighten this up because they're going to, all day long, they're going to eat your lunch.
It's, I think space and weight distribution feel are the things that people take for granted. There's no video on YouTube that's going to teach you that.
Yeah, yeah. And also where you are in relation to that person's center line.
Yeah.
That might have to do with weight distribution as well. You know, again, what jiu-jitsu instructors talk about these things: space management, center line control, weight distribution.
Yeah.
Right. All technical terms of mechanical things we do that make the difference.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I want to
again,
go ahead.
No, I just said that I found over the years, I know I've always told you this, that when I simplify it down to someone's level, I see things more about how I teach, what I have to talk. Like, you know, that's where I dig. That's where I mine all my ideas from, is when I go back and roll like I did when I was a blue belt. I roll like a purple belt with a purple belt. You know, if you roll with them, rolling with them, not against them or not above them.
It's a good perspective. I think also a lot of people when we're rolling, we don't put enough energy into taking in data. So most times, like basic level data we get is I tried the technique, it worked or it didn't work, right? I was in this position, I tried this, it didn't work. Next level is when I tried this technique, it didn't work because they gave me this response. And I think there's so much nuance to the data that other people give us. Just when we're talking about angle and we're talking about distance, we're talking about pressure, right? We can feel the tension in the other person's body. We can see how their hips angle to follow us, right? We can see how they shift their body in order to accommodate the space that we're eating or creating. And there's an element, going back to the topic, is taking in data from how the other person's feeling. Are they breathing hard? Are they not breathing? Are they calm? Are they gritting their teeth? Are they tensing where they don't need to tense? And I think, first of all, just mechanically in a roll, you can kind of tell when people are desperate and they're about to give you a big burst of strength. They're going to be desperate. But also when you're training with your training partners and you see that the guy's got blood in his eyes and he's like, you know, looking for murder, maybe you lighten up the roll a little bit and you bring him back to earth, right? You don't have to
you just make it more even keeled, right?
Even keeled,
just slow this down a little bit, and you know, we don't have to kill each other.
Right.
And or hey, let's take 5 minutes. I want to drill. So, you know, I've been thinking about this thing. Let's drill this for 5 minutes and then we'll go back to rolling.
Sure.
Right. That's a reset, a reboot right there.
Or give him space. If you're smushing him, give him a little space to breathe. Give him a chance to catch up. Right.
Like, hey, I just messed up when I was doing this with you. I want to get it right, so maybe we could both drill this for a few minutes, and then let's get back to the roll.
That's it. Then you finish the roll, you touch hands. The guy doesn't feel like he doesn't take it personally.
And you didn't kind of you're already beat, so we're gonna slow this down. I don't want to hurt you. You know, you're not denting his ego.
You're not babying
right?
him.
Hey, I need to work on this. Can you help me with this?
Yeah.
Sure, I can help you with this. Maybe he's just having a bad day. And okay, all right, I was getting beat a little bit, but then this guy asked me to help him, so we did it, and we finished it off kind of calm. There's always better ways we can manage our partner's mood or happiness, whatever, you know. Like Jonathan says, I guess he heard or he always says, you know, if going to jiu-jitsu isn't the highlight of your day, you're in the wrong room.
Yeah.
Right. You got to think like that. So even if I'm rolling with someone who's in a bad mood and a little desperate, you gotta want to turn that around for the guy. Right. You gotta say, hey, you know, everything all right? What's going on?
Yeah.
I need to talk to people.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah, for sure.
Do we even need to roll? Or do you want to drill something? So I'm cool drilling.
Yeah.
You know?
I'm going to throw out one more thing. We're running short on time, but one more thing, and this is the flip side. Almost everything we've talked about is generally the person who's, you know, what's the shirt where
no, it was sitting funny. It's an
okay.
old school Grogs Surf Palace in Seaside Park, New Jersey.
Generally, we're talking about the upper belt, you know, regulating against the lower belt. But I did think about, you know, sometimes if you're lower belt, you're blue belt, you're rolling with a brown belt, a purple belt, whatever, you get to this place where you're about to hit a submission or a sweep or something, and then the upper belt, he starts coaching you through it, right? We all know this is the classic upper belt defense. Hey, man, if you want, no, you almost got the choke, just cinch it up.
It goes from a live roll to an instructional video, yes. Then back to a live roll.
Correct. And we know what the guy's doing. He doesn't want to accept that he lost.
He's saving face.
He's saving face. And I think as a lower belt, allow him to save face. You can, in the locker room, not the locker room, but in your private space, you can go home and say, put it as a check. I got him, right?
Yeah.
But understand that this guy's been training for a long time. If that's what he needs to do that day, right? Allow him to have it.
And someday down the road, you're going to be in that same position.
That's it. That's it. It's not a competition. There's no, you know what I'm saying? He knows you got it. You know you got it.
Yeah. Roll with it.
Roll with it.
Go with it. Go with it.
What's the act like you've been there before?
Yeah. Yeah. Just go with it. Just, you know.
Yeah.
Is it that important? No, it's not.
Because you don't want him to be ducking you for rounds. You want to roll with him. You want to steal everything he's got. You want
all the help you can from that person.
Absolutely.
You know, the white belts and blue belt, all those guys should want to suck us dry from information, right? Get everything they can out of us, claw every nugget of information out of us.
Absolutely.
Right. That's your job. Don't expect me to just walk up and hand it to you. You got to work for it. You got to come get it. You got to roll with the higher belts, roll with people that challenge you, and then accept what happens. Be okay with it, but just try to get the information out of it.
That's it.
Yeah.
Okay, so we keep them safe. We keep them sane. That's the message of today. Watch and fold swag. Available via Instagram, or is that a one-off?
Product placement. They're coming.
Nice. Awesome.
Look at that little product placement.
Any final thoughts? I think we got like 2 minutes left.
Final thoughts. Just be nicer to people. So I could really on the mats, just try to be a little nicer.
Be nicer.
You know? Yeah, it doesn't cost you anything. Right?
Yeah.
Give that guy who's not doing so well, give him the roll. Let him win. Right? In the whole scheme of things, does it matter? No. Right? But when he gets his act together later on, maybe a year from now, and he's giving out good rolls, he's going to remember that, you know, he was a decent training partner, you know, and he's a white belt. Now he's a purple belt, and you're a black belt, a little older. He's not going to heel hook the crap out of you. Right. Because this guy's a good roll. He was a nice guy.
Yeah. I'll be honest.
Like Dwayne, right?
Dwayne's
not that good. When I introduced him the first day,
Dwayne
knows nothing about jiu-jitsu, but he's big.
Yes.
So treat him nice, because when he does know something, he's still going to be big.
That's right. That's right.
Think about it.
Yep. No.
So be very nice to him.
Awesome. All right, good stuff. Hopefully we'll keep our training partners happy. We'll keep it going.
Keep them happy. Keep everybody's your friend. Remember that. Even though you don't like the guy on the mats, he's your friend.
Awesome.
Right.
And that note,
Off the mats, hate him.
I think we're out of time here.
What's that?
I think we're out of time.
We are.
All right. So be well, everybody. Keep training, and we'll catch you guys next time.